Hey everyone, welcome back to Crypto Cash. Thank you so much for joining me here. Hope you're having a great day. One more look here at SUI, see what's going on. We're just going to quickly take a look at yesterday's playout chart, just kind of give perspective on why I felt SUI is going to drop. Even though some people took kind of offense to that, they got kind of upset that I told them their favorite coin was going to pull back. There's a lot of reasons for that. Essentially, we had that bearish backtest of that 0.618 fib level that could have happened, which didn't. So a good place to consider short, which I was thinking originally, was 196 to 198. Hopefully you secured profits if you took a long because the price hasn't come back to that range yet. But the simple way to understand it here is that there was just way too much liquidation on the downside here. Keep in mind, this is the monthly. You zoom in a little bit more, you'll see that. We also had a pretty high leveraged delta here of liquidation. And oftentimes when that goes kind of high, you'll see it continue for a little bit longer, but if it overextends itself for too many days, then it'll reverse itself. And we're starting to kind of see that likely here today. I'm willing to guess that the shorts are a lot less here now. That majority of them have taken profits and or longs got destroyed, okay? So again, it's just kind of a handful of different things that kind of factor in. Mainly the technical analysis, the chart itself was extremely bearish, and we just had those complementing factors that gave us confidence in taking trades in that direction. So that's kind of where we're at there. Okay. Let me quickly throw this out here too. I want to say congratulations to our community members here. Nice profits on Bitcoin short at 20%, AVAX short 36%. Keep in mind, even though I am mentioning that the price action for SUI is going to pull back, I'm not the one to short this coin. It's a very difficult coin to short, so you're almost always better off waiting for a better long opportunity that either never happens or or just basically not trading at all. That's really the way to understand it. But again, simply to put this, there's no reason to consider shorting this coin specifically right now because it looks like that dynamic has shifted. And I'll explain more about that too. So let's quickly look here. Again, this is the last 7 days liquidation. A chunk of that liquidation between $2 and 190 has been taken care of there. Essentially 187 is a local low. We can see here based on the larger time frame, which we kind of saw on my playout chart there, a chunk of that has been filled. So we see like each one of these little bars here is about half a billion dollars. So one, two, three, 4, somewhere in the range of about 4 billion in liquidation got swept between $2 and 187. Okay, so just know that that's a very real thing. And it's funny, somebody commented below yesterday saying that market makers don't exist. How stupid is it for us to look at the liquidation levels? It's humorous. I think I responded with like a laughing face, but the truth is that's not accurate at all. Market makers move the price however they see fit. We don't truly know when that's going to happen. There's a reason why there's massive pumps and dumps, folks. It's not people like you and I being like, oh, I'm going to sell my bag of 500 SUI or SUI, whatever. Sorry, I know some people get offended by calling it an acronym, but the whole point of this, folks, is just that there's a lot of liquidation left to the downside. It makes sense that the price could continue to pull back. So just try not to, don't attach yourself to a bullish or a bearish mindset. Take what's given to us at this time. And right now, most signs are pointing down. However, there is some good strength in the local, like the last 12 to 24 hours. We're starting to see that recovery a lot better than most other coins. So I'm not recommending you short SUI based on the data we have here so far. But if you take a look at this here, there's another reason why you probably maybe don't want to consider a short. Unless Bitcoin runs to like 64,000 range, SUI seems to be in pretty good shape. And here's why. We've got way too many shorts in the market right now. Okay, and again, you saw this yesterday, it was smaller, but this has since grown, and it's been maintaining itself for what, basically 2 trading days ever since October 21st rather. Yeah, roughly 2 trading days. We can see the price action. We see as the price goes down, the liquidation goes higher. But you reach a certain point where there's too much liquidation in the market, and the market makers, yes, they exist, they push the price action back to offset that difference. Okay. And again, it's a natural correction, very natural thing in trading. And I'm sorry that you're probably upside down on your long position at 215, 220. But just the truth is right now, it's not really a good market to consider taking longs. That's just kind of the bottom line, especially on a coin that's even still at this point, still overextended in my personal opinion. Either way, open interest is about $2. So most people in the last 24 to 48 hours, this is basically last 7 days rather, we can see the most amount of people interested at $2, and then of course about that 210 mark. So pretty much everybody taking longs right now is underwater unless you got lucky at the 190, 180, 189, 187 range. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look here. Let's go ahead. I'll clean out the charts, of course, as per usual. We'll want to leave that there. Just get rid of this guy here. Because again, the bearish rectangle did play out. Keep in mind, Bitcoin had a very similar circumstance there. It was like a symmetrical triangle. which I think you can see that here. Yeah, we saw the breakdown there as well. So again, keep in mind, I'm not taking trades based on patterns. The patterns are there giving us confirming factors, extra confluence. So really that's what it boils down to. So please, if you're like a pattern trader, it's important to understand the overall sentiment, both macro and micro too, okay? So keep that in mind. Anyways, I'm just kind of mentioning that because some folks are like, oh, hey, the rectangle played out, which is true, but that's just, that's like icing on the cake. It's not necessarily the rectangle itself that caused this to happen. Okay, so let's work our way down. Daily time frame, what's going on here? As per usual, we're mostly bullish on this coin. However, that has since changed. That's half the reason why I mentioned yesterday as to why we're probably going to see further downside for this coin, because we lost our ascending trend. It usually runs concurrent with the 20-day SMA. While that trend line is not exact or specific, being below the 20-day SMA lets us know that, hey, we cannot be foolishly long on this coin at all times just because, Tom, Dick, and Harry or every other influencer is telling you want to go long. That's not what you do. In fact, you get destroyed pretty quick doing that. However, SUI still has a lot of sustainability. It's showing some strength in this range, so I'm not discrediting it at all. But on this recent leg up here, we can see we've tested that 0.786 fib level a few times. And at this point, if we were to see another low, I would say 175 seems like the next target because that's basically the local low. A lot of times when you revisit that local low, we'll probably see a bounce. It could be somewhat of a pretty big head and shoulders pattern forming, okay? So I wouldn't be surprised if we see a relief rally to retest this ascending trend line and then back down. That's a really common characteristic too. So I think SUI has a short run in it left. I think that we might revisit that $2 mark, pending Bitcoin doesn't continue to bleed out like it is. It's now at 65.8. All right, so just heads up on that. Plus, again, a lot of liquidation. Makes sense for the price pullback overall. So that's kind of where we're at. Okay, so daily time frame, we're testing 50 on the RSI. This is the last line of defense. This is the last support level. We lose that, probability of the price going down is much higher. Money flow index is extremely low, implying we have a lot of money coming away from this coin. So what's crazy about this is a lot of people have the mindset that it's a good value right now at 190 because it's been in a $2 plus range for so long. However, the money flow index is telling us that we have way too much money flowing out of this coin, and there's just more people selling than buying, okay? So the concept here is that when these things are misaligned, the money flow is below the RSI, it's usually construed as a bearish sign. Okay, so that's just kind of the idea there. Our trend strength index is essentially below 0. That's never a good sign. MACD is still picking up momentum. There's a lot of reasons not to take a long position, honestly. And again, I'm going to explain a little bit more so in the smaller time frames too, just comparing this chart with Bitcoin, why you probably shouldn't take a short either. I know it sounds kind of crazy. I don't know what the heck's wrong with this guy telling me not to take a trade, but the simple way to understand it is when you have a lot of shifts in momentum or when things are conflicting, you really don't want to force a trade. And I don't know if you've ever forced a trade in the past, but how's that working for you? It probably doesn't work very well. At least I know it doesn't because people come to my community all the time wanting to share in the profits that we take, but they're not willing to put in the work. Okay, so again, a lot of this comes in, having good risk tolerance and making sure that you understand yourself here. Anyways, conversation for another day. I talk a lot about that in my trading university. Make sure to watch that if you're part of our community. Here's a reason why I feel like we could see a short-term relief rally for SUI. It's a really, really common occurrence. If you've watched my videos at any point, you'll know I'm a firm believer in seeing a bullish type of convergence on the 4-hour time frame with the RSI and MFI. When you see a bounce off 30 on the RSI and 20 on the MFI, you're commonly going to see the price action continue to run, pending Bitcoin doesn't continue to dump. So Bitcoin can somehow find its range at 65.8 to 66,000 even. Then I'm confident SUI will probably have somewhat of a relief rally up to 50 on the RSI on the 4-hour. It usually only lasts about 12 to 16 hours. Anyways, it's not a guarantee, just something to notice. The likelihood of us hitting our tentative bottom is pretty high. While we have a lot of liquidation left below us here, there's a lot of reasons why we're probably going to bounce here short term. Part of it is pending the fact that we have that 200-day SMA below the price action. It's nice. It's a consolation more so, but it's nice. We also got the fair value gap here from back in October on the 11th. That has since been filled. So we basically had a significant gap up on that day, and the price action has recovered to secure those profits. And again, those are market makers that are securing their profits eventually. They set a bunch of limit orders and just continue to bleed out the price. It's very common. This is happening obviously concurrent with Bitcoin, but it's also very synonymous with the charts and essentially these key areas. So anyways, the whole point of all this is that we have some conversions here in the 4-hour, mostly just that extreme pain, that maxing out, that tentative bottom, which commonly leads to a slight relief rally. Now, again, you could even argue that the relief rally has already come and went, right? You take a look at that, that's not very good. In fact, if we take a look at the hourly, let's confirm this here. The only way to break free from this current trend, by the way, is to establish range-bound activity, which we're doing so far, kind of. We've only tested basically once on each side. But the key takeaway here is until the price action can get above here, this level, and consolidate in this range, there's no likelihood of it going any higher, okay? So when I say we have a short-term relief rally happening, I'm thinking, $196 to $2 is probably a best case scenario. I don't really even trust it at this point, but what I want to kind of bring to your attention is just how, I wouldn't even want to say well, but how not bad SUI is doing compared to the rest of the market. Most coins like AVAX, for example, we had a short position open with this. This coin is just dumping like crazy, right? A lot of coins are aligned with Bitcoin very poorly. SUI, strong case here to be able to maintain a range and essentially establish higher highs and higher lows. Once that occurs, then we can take a long with confidence. You don't take a long in the blind because it seems like a good value. That's just not what you do. Now, if you're going to take a long right now and you watch it close, it's a different story. You probably find some success with that. But again, when Bitcoin's dropping, you don't take longs. And I know there's a concept of like buying the fear, right? When everyone's scared, or buying red candles essentially. That's generally a good strategy too. But when you're using leverage, it's a whole other story. I do not recommend it. Okay. All right. I hope that makes sense and I described that somehow correctly. Just be careful in what you're watching and who you're trusting out there. I only say that because a lot of folks come over to my community as after getting destroyed by a lot of other people that pretty much know nothing about trading. They just know that everyone else online is saying that this coin is going to go to the moon, and they tell you to do so because they make money from it. While I make some money on my membership fees, it's really just, it's very arbitrary compared to what I make in the market. And in that sense, I make money because I'm patient and I wait for the right opportunities. Okay. So I recommend you be patient and figure things out for yourself. Obviously, continue to watch, and I appreciate the support. Don't forget to like the video, comment below. Future reference to Bitunix, folks. These guys are awesome. Link down below for these guys. It's a community favorite. We've been using them for a long time, but no KYC or VPN required. If you use my link to register, you get some awesome reward bonuses this month. And that goes for anyone who's used my link in the past. So for anyone who's been in my community for years, or I guess a year plus, in this regard for Bitunix, check it out. You get those free rewards there for you. All right, folks, have a good rest of your day. We'll look forward to seeing the next one. Take care. Bye-bye.